Hello everyone. So in our last session, we explored the world of Indus Valley civilization. We have seen how they have planned their cities, how advanced their drainage systems were, how they had trade networks with almost many important civilizations across the world, the mystery behind their decline also. But as one civilization faded, another important era gradually took shape, bringing a new wave of cultural, social as well as political transformation across the entire Indian subcontinent itself. So the arrival of the new group of people and this gradual settlement marked the beginning of what we now refer as the Vedic period or the Vedic era. So this happened somewhere around 1500 BC. In the last class, I've already mentioned that the Harappans declined somewhere around the 1600 BC or somewhere around the decline started somewhere around the 1900 BC itself. So around 1500 BC, a new group known as the Indo-Aryan migrants. So they began marking their way into the northern plains. Especially they came through the western parts of the Indian subcontinent. So they carried with them a distinct way of life. They had a distinct way of life. Their language was different. The traditions was different. So all this left a lasting impact on the region's history, or maybe it impacted the later Indian history also. Okay, so this Vedic period was an era that shaped the, we can say that it shaped the foundations of early Indian society, even religion and even the governance system also. Okay, all right. So the Vedic age lasting from 1500 to 500 BC, 1500 to 500 BC. So this was primarily reconstructed using the Vedic text. Okay, primarily reconstructed using the Vedic text. So Vedas. So Vedas were one of the ancient Indian literature. So the how the people lived in during this particular period. So that was reconstructed using the information which you have got from this text. So that is Vedas were one of the earliest known literature of ancient India. Okay, so here we can see that this era marked a transition phase, transition from a semi-nomadic system. Earlier we were following a semi-nomadic system only, especially during this Neolithic period and all. So from there we can see that agrarian kingdoms are coming. Okay, so in the early period, in the early Vedic period, they were going in a semi-nomadic way, and in the later Vedic period, they have transitioned into the agrarian kingdom. So this transition also we can see in the Vedic age. Okay, another important thing is I've already mentioned that they had a their own distinct type of language was there. So the people of this the new people who came to India, we call them as Aryans. We call them as Aryans, or the people from the land of Arya. Okay, so the term Arya in Sanskrit means noble or kinsman. Okay, Arya means noble. Arya means noble. In Sanskrit, that is known as noble or kinsman. So this is basically it's not a racial term. Like some people have mentioned it as a racial term, but it's basically a cultural identity. The Indo-Aryan, sometimes we call it as a Indo-Aryan people. So these Indo-Aryans, through their language, they only compose this Vedic text, and they were actually speakers of a subgroup of Indo-Iranian branch of the Indo-European language. Okay, again, this sort of information little disputed, but still again everyone confirm it that they are belonging to the Indo-European language only, but there is a subgroup of Indo-Iranian subgroup is there. Okay, in the Indo-European languages there is something known as a Indo-Iranian subgroup is there. Okay, so basically these they were actually the speakers of the subgroup of Indo-Iranian branch of Indo-European language family. Okay, so the origin of these people, origin of these Aryan people, that many people have come up with many multiple theories with it, and it is debated also. Okay, we don't know exactly which theory is correct, but based on their understanding, based on their research, the people have come up with their own distinct theories. Okay, so we'll see some of the important theories, some of the important theories of origin of this Aryan people. Okay, so here you can see that the theories are the different theories are there, the proposed homeland is there, and also who were the support of that particular theory. So that is also there. Okay, so one of the major theories, it is European theory. So European theory, according to the European theory, the proposed homeland of this Aryan people, that is Eastern Europe only. Eastern Europe means the parts of Hungary, Russia, and even Germany will be there. Okay, Hungary, Russia, Germany, Hungary, Russia, Germany. So that is Eastern Europe region, and it was proposed by Sir William Johnson P. Nearing. Okay, Sir William Johnson P. Nearing has proposed this theory. So why they are saying that this Indo-Aryans are from the Eastern Europe? Because they found that there is actually a linguistic similarity between Sanskrit, and if you go to that language, means they have the Latin, they have the Greek and all. So there is linguistic similarity between Sanskrit, Latin and the Greek. So based on that only, the Sir William Johnson P. Nearing has suggested that their homeland is Eastern Europe. Okay, so their theory is based on linguistic similarity. Linguistic similarity. Okay. All right. So other than that, another important theory is a Central Asian theory. So according to the Central Asian theory, it is said that they came from the Central Asian region. Central Asian region means Kazakhstan will be there, and also this Bactria Magana place is also there. Okay. So we can take it as Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan. So this was proposed by Max Muller. This was proposed by Max Muller. So according to this theory, they came from the Central Asian region. Again, here also they are saying that the linguistic links are there. Okay, so this Vedic Sanskrit is actually very much related to the Iranian text. Okay, Central Asian means Iranian text. So the famous Iranian text is Sant Avesta. Okay, or maybe the Avestan text. Okay, so Avestan is very much closely similar to Sanskrit. So this is what Max Muller has said in this particular theory, and he proposed a Central Asian theory. Okay, Central Asian theory. Another important theory is the Arctic theory. Another important theory is the Arctic theory. So this was proposed by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Proposed by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. You all might be knowing who is Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Modern history and all will be studying this Bal Gangadhar Tilak. So he said that these people are coming from the Arctic region. Okay, these people are coming from the Arctic region. Why? Because I already mentioned that the more details regarding this Aryan people, they were mentioned in the Vedic text only. Okay, so in this Vedic text, there are descriptions of long nights and days. Okay, so if you know geography, you'll be knowing that in this Arctic region or in the polar regions, the days are it will be long nights will be there and long days will be there. So according to that, that is also mentioned in the Vedic text. So according to that, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, after studying all these things, he said that they are from the Arctic region, because in the text it is mentioned that they had long nights as well as a longer days are there. So according to that, he is saying that. Okay. Another one is a Tibetan theory. Tibetan theory is saying that they came from the Tibetan region, Indo-Chinese border, Tibetan region. So this was proposed by Swami Dayanand Saraswati. Swami Dayanand Saraswati proposes. So reference in reference in Vedic text. So that is the geography that is very much similar to the Himalayan geography. Okay, Himalayan geography. So according to that, he said that they are from the Himalayan region. So that is most probably the Tibetan region. So this is based on the Himalayan geography. This is based on the Himalayan geography. Swami Dayanand Saraswati has proposed this. Okay. Another theory is that they are Indian theory. So they are indigenous to India. They didn't come from any particular place, but they are indigenous to India. Okay. So this was proposed by A.C. Das and Sampurnanand. A.C. Das and Sampurnanand has proposed that they are coming from India. Again, this is also from the Vedas only. So the Vedas has mentioned some area known as a Sapta Sindhu. Area known as a Sapta Sindhu. Sapta Sindhu. Sapta Sindhu means, you know, right? Sindhu means Indus region only. Okay. So according to this, again, this is also from the Vedas only. So the Vedas has mentioned the region known as Sapta Sindhu. So Sapta Sindhu is a Aryan homeland, and even in the they have mentioned regarding the local flora as well as the fauna. So that is found only in that particular region. So based on that, this Indian theory is saying that they are from the they are indigenous to Indian subcontinent itself. Okay. So however, even though this much theory are there, today the most accepted view is that the Indo-Aryans have migrated. It's not like they are indigenous, they have migrated, and the Aryans gradually entered India through the northwestern part of India. Okay, there are disputes regarding where they have come. where they have, whether from the Arctic, whether from the Central Asia, whether from the what Europe, but still they have entered India through the northwestern part of India. So many of them have, the present historians, many of them are conformed to that particular theory, and they came to India and they assimilated to the local culture. Okay, it was not an exactly like an invasion, but they assimilated to a to the local culture. So this is the most accepted theory now. Okay, and two important cultures also provide evidence of this migration, so that some materials have been found. Some similar materials we can find in both that culture as well as a Aryan culture. Okay, one is a Andronovo culture. One is a Andronovo culture. Not going into details regarding this, two important cultures from where we got similar material references. Similar material references we got from two cultures. One is a Andronovan culture. So this flourished around somewhere around 2000 BC to 1800 BC. 2000 BC to 1800 BC. And another one is a Bactrian Margiana region. Okay, Bactrian Margiana. Bactria and all we will study later. Okay, Bactrian Greeks and all will be studying later. Okay, but this is somewhere around south of the Siberian region. Okay, so first was around 2000 BC, 2000 to 1800 BC, and again later one was also around the same time only 1900. So that's somewhere around the decline of the Harappan civilization. So here, based on the material culture, material culture means they found common elements such as spoked wheels will be there, even fire altars will be there, horses will be there. So all these things, I don't know whether you remember Indus Valley civilization, we have seen that horses, there is no proper evidence of the horses in Indus Valley civilization. So here you can see that spoked wheels, horses, fire altars, which prominently they might have used for some ritual. So this we can see in both these, I mean like all the three traditions. So that is the most common accepted theory as of now. Okay, all right. So anyway, the Vedic period or the Vedic era, we can actually divide it into two phases. We have already seen here the transition happened from semi-nomadic to agrarian kings. Okay, so what were the two important phases of the Vedic period? One is the early Vedic period. One is the early Vedic period that was from 1500 to 1500 to 1000 BC. 1500 to 1000 BC, we have the early Vedic period. Okay, so this is also known as a Rigvedic period. This is also known as a Rigvedic period. I have already mentioned that the details regarding the features of this people, Indo-Aryan peoples and all, we got it from the Vedic text only. Okay, so the Rigveda is the oldest Veda. Rigveda is the oldest Veda which we have got. Okay, so the Rigveda was compiled in this early Vedic period. Okay, so that's why it is also known as a Rigvedic period or the Rigvedic age, which is from 1500 to 1000 BC period. Okay, all right. So it was followed by, from there it was followed by the later Vedic period, 1000 to 500 BC. It was followed. Okay, so we can see that there is actually a transition from the, in the society, in the beliefs, in the religion, everything. We can see that there is a transition from this early Vedic period to the later Vedic period. Okay, all right. So we will be discussing both these Vedic periods. Will be discussing. Okay, all right. So let's understand. We will start with the early Vedic period itself. Early Vedic period 1500 to 1000 BC is a early Vedic period. Okay, so the Aryans, I have told that Aryans came from the west. So Aryans came from the west and they settled in this region. Aryans came from the west and they settled in this region. Okay, here you can see that they came from this route only, northwestern region, and they settled in this region that we call it as a Punjab and the Sapta Sindhu region. Punjab and the Sapta Sindhu region. So here you can see that that is somewhere where Harappans were there. Okay, so we have seen that Harappan civilization was also in this region only. Okay, so this is where the Harappans were settled. So that's why in some of the theories we can see that the Aryan invasion theories, in the decline of Harappan civilization, there is something known as Aryan invasion theory. Why? Because according to that theory, it is said that Harappan civilization declined because Aryans invaded. Okay, even though some of the historians are not agreeing to that particular thesis, there is one theory like that. Why? Because both of them are coinciding. The geographical regions are coinciding. Okay, so Harappans were there. Even Aryans also came first to this particular region only. Sapta Sindhu. Sindhu means Indus. Okay, in the Indus basin. Okay, so this is in the Punjab region. So present day it will be coming in the northwestern part of India and the modern day Pakistan. Northwestern part of India and the modern day Pakistan. So this is a Sapta Sindhu region, especially in the Punjab region we can see that. Okay, all right. So unlike the Harappan society was an urban society. Harappan it's a very advanced urban society. But here, this early Vedic period, we can see that they are tribal and pastoral society. They are tribal and pastoral society. So they have been organized into small communities. They have been organized into small communities known as Jana. Okay, so Janas were the small communities. So every Jana will have a lead will be there. So that he will be known as a Rajan. Okay. So the Rajan will be heading Jana. Rajan will be, so these are small communities, very small communities will be there, and every small community or tribes will be there, and that will be led by a chief. Okay. So Rajan will be the chief of that particular community. Chief of that particular community. Okay. So this is how the system, like the system was what arranged there. So, however, one thing was sure, even though Rajan was there was no centralized kingdom. Okay, it is not like the present monarchies and all. No centralized kingdom. No centralized kingdom was there. Okay, it was not a centralized kingdom. Okay, so it was not a centralized monarchy. Okay, so that is kind of something which is accepted by almost all the historians. Okay, but who was having more power? The power was with the tribal assembly. It was not with the Rajan. Rajan was just a chief, but the power was with the real decisions were taken by the tribal assembly. So here also we can see the two types of tribal assemblies, where the one is a Sabha and another one is a Samadhi. This is something very similar to the present parliament. Present, maybe you can take the Indian parliament, the bicameral system of Indian parliament. Two houses will be there for the parliament. Okay. So the Sabha is actually the council of elders. Sabha is actually the council of elders. Okay. Samadhi, and after that we have the Samadhi. Samadhi is the assembly of common people. Samadhi is the assembly of commoners. Okay, Sabha will be the council of elders and Samadhi will be the assembly of the commoners. Okay, it's somewhat similar to the present day parliament. You know, right? The upper house is Rajya Sabha. We have upper house Rajya Sabha and we have the lower house, that is a Lok Sabha. Okay, so like that way, Sabha will be the upper house, or maybe the council of elders, and Samadhi will be the lower house, that is a Rajya Sabha. Okay, so even long back itself, we had this kind of a bicameral setup. That's what it is. What we can infer from this particular thing. Okay. All right. So even they had a military advantage also. Why? Because horses were part of it. Okay. They had horses. This Harappans were not, we don't have much evidence regarding Harappans using their horses. So here they had the horses as well as horse drawn chariots were also there. So this gave this Aryans a strategic advantage over the indigenous group. Even if it was an Aryan invasion theories, that is true also. This is one point which we can say that. Why? Because the local people, they were not having horses. So horses will be giving more mobility to these people. Strategic advantage will be there. Okay. All right. Now, again, this we have already mentioned, that is the Rigveda was compiled during this particular period. That is why early Vedic period is also known as Rigvedic period. Early Vedic period is also known as Rigvedic period or Rigvedic age. Okay. All right. So now let's understand how was a composition of the society. What was the social structure which was prevalent in the early Vedic period. Okay. All right. So what was the society of this early Vedic period? I have already mentioned the society was tribal as well as a pastoral society, but it was very simple. You can say that it was very simple and egalitarian. It was a simple and egalitarian society. Simple and egalitarian society. So in a simple and egalitarian society, caste system was also not rigid. It was very flexible caste system was, it was very no, not rigid. It was very flexible caste system was there. Okay. All right. So, but still there were social class divisions. Social divisions were there, but that was not based on birth, but it was based on the occupation. It was based on the occupation. Okay. So, how are we dividing this people? That is based on occupation only, that we call it as a Varna system. That we call it as a Varna system. So, there were three important um, groups were there. Okay. Three important groups were there. That is, one, in the top class will be having the Brahmins will be there. Top class will have the Brahmins will be there. Okay. So, after that we have, so Brahmins means it will be the priests will be there, scholars will be there. So, they'll be part of this Brahmin class. After that we have the Kshatriyas. After that we have the Kshatriyas. Okay. Kshatriyas means it will be the warrior class will be there, rulers will be there. So, all these people will be belonging to the Kshatriya tribe. So, after that we have the Vaishyas. After that we have the Vaishyas will be there. Okay. So, based on this only we will be having the based on this only we will be having the what it will be, the society will be, the classes will be divided. So, Vaishyas will be the commoners, even commoners will be there, little more. I mean, like the merchant class will be, the artisans will be there, herders will be there. So, all these people will be part of this third section. Okay. So, Brahmins are there, Kshatriyas are there, Vaishyas are there. Okay. So, Brahmins will be the number one position, Kshatriyas will be below them, and Vaishyas will be again below them. So, this is based on the occupation, but still there was social mobility was possible. There was a possibility of social mobility. So, that is why it is known as a flexible system. It was a flexible system. This is in the early Vedic period. It was a flexible system, and again related to the women's status. Women had a higher status. Comparatively, women had a higher status. So, that was also one of the important feature of this society. Okay. So, they even participated in the assemblies. We have told, right, Sabha will be there, Samati will be there. So, even they participated in the assemblies, and even some of the important poets were there. They will be composing the hymns and all. So, there are mentions like few of the important women poets are also there. Okay. So, women poets like Gargi, Lopamudra, okay, Gargi and Lopamudra. So, these are some of the important women poets or scholars. It is believed that they have composed hymns. Okay, Lopamudra is said to be the wife of sage Agastya. Okay, so like that. All right. So, yeah. So this is related to the status of women. So related to the beliefs, religious beliefs of this Aryan, the early Vedic religion. So Aryans practice the nature worship. Mostly they practice nature worship, and they had multiple gods. So that's why it is known as polytheism. Polytheism. They had multiple gods will be there. Multiple gods will be there. So polytheism, they practice polytheism. Earlier period they had nature. I mean, they focus mostly on the natural forces. For example, Indra. Indra was a very prominent god. So Indra was a god of rain and war. Okay, so here it is natural force only, right? Okay, so Indra is a god of rain, and even war also. And another one, Agni. Agni is a god of fire. Agni is a god of fire. Okay, Varuna. Varuna is a god of cosmic order. Okay, Varuna was a god of cosmic order, and Surya is a sun god. Surya is a sun god. So like that, they worship the. They had multiple gods, so they had polytheism, and they worship the natural phenomena. They worship the natural phenomena. So that's what we can say about this. Okay, and they had religious practices also, but religious practices were very simple. Very simple. It was not a complex religious practices, but it was very simple. One is fire sacrifices, or we call it as yajna. Fire sacrifice. Fire sacrifice, we call it as a yajnas will be there. Okay, yajna, very simple. The fire altars will be there, and they'll be giving sacrifices to that area, and this will be performed in an open setting. Okay, so even though they had religious beliefs, no temples, no temples, No temples were part of this Vedic period. Okay, why? Because mostly the rituals will be conducted in the open space only. Open space only. Even idol worship was also, even if it was there also. I mean, early Vedic period it was very less, but even if it was there also, it will be in the open space only. Okay, so that is related to the religious belief of this early Vedic period. Okay, next related to regarding the economy of the early Vedic period. Early Vedic period, mostly they were pastoral society. Pastoral society means cattle is something which is considered of high, it is considered as a high wealth. Okay, so if a person has to be rich, his wealth is actually measured in the cows only. Okay, so a wealthy man sometimes he will be called as a gomat. Wealthy man will be called as a gomat. Gomats. Okay, so he'll be having a lot of cows. He'll be having a lot of cows. That's why it is known as Gomat. Go means cow. Okay, go means cow. So and there was no concept of this private land ownership. Okay, no concept of private land ownership. So pastors will be there. They were pastoral community only, right? So the pastors will be group. I mean, it will be shared among this community. It will be shared among community, but cows will be. People can have individual cows will be there. So based on that only their wealth is measured, and if a person is too wealthy, he is known as a gomat. Okay, he is known as a gomat. And also how the transactions have been conducted. Now we will be having this cash will be there. Now we have UPI, all these things will there. And how they were actually having, how their transactions were happening. That is based on the barter system. That was based on the barter system. So what do you mean by barter system? If I have some apples are there and I want some oranges, so I'll be exchanging my apples with the oranges. So this kind of system we call it as a barter system. Based on the exchange we call it as barter system. But even though they had barter system in the later period, little not towards this later Vedic period. Even though it was in the early Vedic period, towards the later Vedic period, there were signs that they had gold coins. That we call it as Nishka. We call it as a Nishka coins. Okay, Nishka coins, gold coins known as Nishka was also part of this early Vedic period. Okay, so this was also used for this exchanges, same like the present day money. Okay, so all these things give a foundation to the entire Vedic culture itself. So later, from this early Vedic period in the 1000 BC, we are slowly transitioning to the later Vedic period. So their societies have changed. Their religious beliefs have changed. Their administration kind of thing has changed. So like that way, we can see a huge change in this from the early Vedic period to the later Vedic period. Okay, so it is from 1000 BC to 500 BC. We have the later Vedic period. Okay, so what this Aryans did? So Aryans came to the Sapta Sindhu region only, right? So Aryans from the northwest they came to the Sapta Sindhu region, So after that, what they did is like they again migrated. So they were semi-nomadic people. So they constantly keep on moving. Maybe semi, not permanently nomadic, but semi-nomadic. So after some time, after a huge period, moving towards they'll be moving towards some other place. Okay, so they moved to the Ganga Yamuna Dwap. They moved to the Ganga Yamuna Dwap region. Okay, so here we can see that the tribal communities are slowly undergoing the transition. Okay, earlier they were tribal communities only. Now they are slowly transforming into monarchies. Okay, monarchies means kingdoms. Monarchies means kingdoms. Okay, they are transitioning to monarchy. So this sometimes we call it as Janapathas. Janapathas. Okay, so earlier we had Janas. So Janas were tribes. Okay, so the tribes will be headed by a Rajan. The chief will be there, Rajan. Now they have they have expanded. It. The power is also increasing. The Janas became Janapadas. Huge Janapadas are coming into place. Okay, so at that time councils were having the huge power. Okay, the king was for namesake only will be having a king, but the councils had huge power. Now the king's powers have increased. The king's Rajan's power is increasing. In the later Vedic period. Okay, the why? Because the king will be conducting many ceremonies to increase his power. Okay, one major ceremony which the king will be conducting is Ashwamedha. Ashwamedha or maybe Ashwamedha Yaga. Ashwamedha Yaga means who is sacrifice. Ashwamedha Yaga means who is sacrifice will be there. Okay. So how this horse sacrifice is done? Specially chosen, an auspicious horse will be selected. So this horse will be set to roam freely from the kingdom, from one kingdom to another kingdom. Though horse will be accompanied by the king's warriors also. So if another ruler, if the horse is going and he know that okay somebody is having Ashwamedha Yaga, and whichever area the horse is traveling, that will be that will go to the king who is conducting this Ashwamedha. Yeah, if someone want to challenge the king, someone want to challenge the authority of the king who is conducting this Ashwamedha Yaga, he has to capture the horse. He has to capture the horse and the victorious king, and they'll be fighting. Okay, the two kings will be fighting, and this victorious king, he proved his dominance. He has to prove his dominance, and he earned the right to perform this Ashwamedha Yaga. And in the end of this Yaga, the horse will be sacrificed, and the Yaga ceremony itself will be a very huge ceremony. Will be conducted. Fasting will be there. Sorry, feasting will be there. Even other rituals will be also be performed. Okay, so by the end of the Ashwamedha Yaga, the king's territory will be expanding. Ideally, the king's territory will be expanding. His authority will be expanding, and he will become more powerful. Okay. Another important ceremony which we will be conducting is the Rajasuya. Okay. Rajasuya is a royal consecration ceremony. Rajasuya is a royal consecration ceremony. Okay. Royal consecration ceremony. Rajasuya will be there. Okay, so this is sometimes known as Sratha ritual also. So this emphasizes the royal power. Okay, so like now the US president and all, their inauguration ceremony will be there. So like that way, the king will be ceremoniously uh, inaugurated. Okay, so that is a that is this Rajasuya, the ritual of this Rajasuya. Okay, another important thing, the king, the monarchies are mostly hereditary. Okay, why? Because earlier the sabhas and samadhis will be having some power. Okay, now the sabhas and samadhi is not much into the scene. Now the king is powerful, and the king will be the king after the death of the king, again his son will be the king. So after like that way, the hereditary system is also coming into practice in during this particular later Vedic period only. Okay, so in the Rigvedic period, one important Veda was compiled, that was the Rigveda. Okay, early Vedic period, Rigveda was compiled. So now more Vedas are coming into being. Okay, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda. So now we have 4 Vedas. Started with Rigveda. After that we have the Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, and Atharva Veda. Okay, so this is a later the Vedas which are compiled in the later period, and more texts are also coming. Like other than Vedas, we have Brahmanas and Upanishad. Brahmanas and Upanishad. Brahmanas and Upanishads are also coming into, more texts like Brahmanas, other than Vedic Vedas, Brahmanas and Upanishads are also compiled during this particular period. Okay, so regarding the social structure of the later Vedic period, here also we can see that there is a drastic shift from the early period to the later period. Okay, in the early period, we have seen that the caste system was very flexible. It was not rigid, and it was very much flexible. So unlike this Rigvedic period, the later Vedic society became a caste-based hierarchy. There is a caste-based hierarchy. Okay, so caste system became very much rigid. Okay, and also new important thing is also coming, that is a Gotra system. That is a Gotra system is also coming. Okay, so what is a Gotra system? Gotra means clans will be there. Okay, clans will be there. For example, it restricts intermarriage within the same lineage. For example, Gotra means that particular clan will be there. So Gotra means descendant from a one particular person. Okay, father will be there, his son will be there, again his what grandson will be there. Again, that lineage is slowly growing. So these people were not allowed to marry within the same Gotra. So they wanted diversity. They wanted to they wanted to what have connections with other Gotras. Okay, so like that way, they should not be the people who are marrying, they should not be from the same descendant. Okay, so that was it. And another important thing is the Varna system. Varna system, we have seen that Varnas, Brahmanas in the top hierarchy will be Brahmanas, the priests and the scholars will be coming in the based on occupation. Brahmanas will be there. So after that we had the Kshatriyas will be there, the warrior class, the rulers will be part of this Kshatriya. That was also there. After that we had the Vaishyas will be there. Vaishyas will be there. So they were the normal monarchy, sorry, they were the normal artisan class or maybe the merchant class, that they will be Vaishyas. So earlier they had we had three important Varna system. So now, yeah, now we have four Varnas. Okay, so one more Varna is getting added, that is Shudras. Shudras. So from three we are shifting to four Varnas, that is Shudras were also added as a fourth Varna system. So that is the lowest level in the Varna system. Okay. Regarding the status of women, earlier women were part of the Sabha Samadhi. They were part of the councils. Even they were women poets were also there. Their status was also somewhat equal to the men only. So now they were in this period they were excluded from education. They were excluded from this administration, politics, everything. They had no role. Okay, so now men are dominating the women. Okay, so that is also very much important. So now this Gotra system, clan, everything is it. So now we can see, here we can see that joint families are also coming. Joint family system is also coming. You know what is a joint family? Okay, so joint family system is also slowly becoming prevalent during this particular period. Okay, so regarding the religion of this um, period, we can see that earlier it was like nature worship. Okay, earlier it was focusing on the nature worship. Now we can see that we are moving towards ritualism. Nature worship means earlier we had gods like Indra. Indra was a god of rain, and Surya, the god of sun. The sun god will be there. So like that way we had uh, gods based on nature, gods based on nature. Now it is slowly moving towards ritualism, and also we can see that there is a philosophical shift is also. A philosophical shift also we can see here. Okay, so now other important gods are coming into prominence. One is Prajapati. One is a Prajapati. So Prajapati is the creator god, ultimate god. Prajapati, creator god Prajapati is coming into play, and also gods like Vishnu and Rudra. Rudra is a form of Shiva. Okay, so like that way new gods are coming into uh, place. Okay, instead of this focusing on Indra, Varuna, Surya and all, now new gods are coming into. It's not based on the nature. Now nature worship is slowly shifting towards ritualism. So that we can see in this particular later Vedic period. Okay, all right. Next one is related to the economy of the later Vedic. Economy of the later Vedic. And another one, again, earlier the rituals are little simple only, like normal yajnas were only there. Now slowly the sacrifices, like the ritualistic practice, now they are increasing. Like we have already seen Shumetha, Rajasuya and all, so that was also there. And even more texts are also coming, like Upanishads are coming. So like that way, so the concept of spirituality, moksha, karma, afterlife, all these things are coming into practice. Okay. All right. So regarding the economy, I've seen that earlier we were following a pastoral system. Earlier we were following a pastoral system. So now we can see that we are moving towards an agrarian society. We are moving towards an agrarian society, and agriculture became predominant. Agriculture became dominant in this region. Okay. And earlier, when they were in the Sapta Sindhu region, they were not much aware of the tools, like the metal tools and all. Now they got one more important element, that is iron. That is iron is coming into place. Okay, so this is iron tools. Krishna ayas or iron tools are they were using iron tools also. Okay, so when they are using iron tools means their farming will be improved. Okay, so they need tools for cutting, they need tools for harvesting and all. So now with the introduction of this iron tools, their agriculture slowly improved. Okay, earlier it was whoever is having the larger number of cattle, he will be considered as a Gomat. Okay, he will be considered as a Gomat. So now it is not based on the cattle. Slowly they are moving uh, from this pastoral society to an agriculture. Now it's based on the whether you have the farming land or something. So like that way only the the class will be determined. Okay, all right. Even the trade also expanded. Trade also expanded. The merchants from this Vaishya class, they also form some guilds. Merchant guilds will be there. Okay, merchant guilds, we call it as a Srishtins. Sreshtins. That is a merchant guilds. Sreshtins. The merchant guilds known as a Sreshtins. So that is also coming into place, and also taxes became mandatory. Taxes became mandatory. Okay, you know what is tax now? Now also we are giving the tax. So they have to collect the taxes. So based on now kingdom is becoming more prominent, right? So to development of the kingdom, the officials will be there. So they'll be the Rajan will be appointing the officials. So they'll be going and collecting the taxes also. Okay, so that's also mandatory. Anyway, how by the 600 BC? How by the 600 BC, the Vedic society underwent a very huge transition. Very huge transition. So this transition we can call it as, again, it's not like we can say that it declined, but still uh, many elements from this Vedic society has been taken and it underwent maybe upgraded, like the power of Rajan has increased, the power of king, it became more like a king society, that we can say. Even the taxes, everything was also transitioned to that area. So like that way the Vedic society gradually transitioned to another era, we call it as a Mahajanapadas. Okay, now we have Janapadas, that is transitioning to the Mahajanapadas, era of Mahajanapadas. Okay, so that we'll be discussing later. So why they have transitioned? Because the Vedic society, that was mostly a rural society. That was mostly a rural society. Now they are slowly progressing towards an urban society. Harappan was not a rural society. Harappan was an urban society. Okay, so Vedic is actually a downgrade from the Harappans. So here urbanization is happening, and also they are moving for better economic expansion also. So towns are coming. Okay, so towns are coming instead of these rural areas. More towns are coming. Trade flourished, and also rise of organized kingdoms. Rise of organized kingdoms are coming into practice. Okay, more kingdoms are coming into practice. Monarchies became powerful. Kings became more powerful. Okay, and also there was a challenge to the Vedic rituals. Okay, so Veda, these people were performing all these rituals like Ashwamedha, Rajasuya, or maybe Brahmins became more prominent. So more religions or more beliefs are coming that were challenging these Vedic rituals. Okay, we'll discuss these religions in detail. One is Jainism, and another one is Buddhism. So Jainism, Buddhism, two important religions that challenge the authority or maybe the practices which were conducted by the Vedic people. So that is also slowly becoming prominent. Okay, during this period. Another one is formation of this is something which we have discussed. Formation of Mahajanapada. Obviously, our next class will be based on Mahajanapada only. So large states are coming. Like we'll be dividing the entire Indian subcontinent into different Mahajanapa, like Magadha, Kosala, Vatsa. Okay, so like that way they are gaining into power. Okay, so this is what happened to the Vedic period. But still, the legacy of Vedic period, we can say that led foundation to many things. For example, foundation to the Hindu philosophy. Okay, early we cannot say that it's Hinduism, but maybe we can call it as a Brahmanism. Okay, Brahmanism, the introduction of new language like Sanskrit languages. Harappan language was still not deciphered. Okay, but Aryans have introduced a Sanskrit language, which is part of the Indo-European language. So that is also development of Sanskrit language, which in the later period became very much prominent. And also the caste system. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but still the development of casteism, which again became very much prominent in the later period. The monarchy, rise of this monarchy, that is also one of the important thing. More texts have been written like Upanishad, Vedanta. So that is also very much important. So like that way it laid foundation to many things, the larger dynasties, the religious traditions which India has followed, the social structure, that is the class and the caste divisions, that is also there. So like that way it is a huge transition is happening, and the legacy which was brought by the Vedic, era. That is very much important. Okay, so we'll discuss the Mahajanapada, age of the Mahajanapada. So what was the transition from this Vedic era to Mahajanapada in our next session? Okay, all right, we'll see some practice questions based on the our discussion. First one, consider the following statement about the early Vedic period. Early Vedic period. So yeah, early Vedic period, the Rigvedic, also known as the Rigvedic society. So Rigvedic society was predominantly agricultural. Rigvedic society was predominantly agricultural. We have discussed it was not agricultural. This was agricultural was in the later Vedic period. Okay, early with the Rigvedic period was pastoral, or maybe we can say that nomadic society. Nomadic society. So this statement is wrong. Okay, next one. Cows were considered as an important source of wealth in the Rigvedic economy. Okay, so basically the Rigveda was driven by cows only. Cows were highly valued in this early Vedic society, and even the wealth was also often measured in terms of cattle. So that we call it as Gavya. Gavya. Okay, Gavya. The wealth, cow wealth is considered as Gavya, and the person who is in the top, so he is known as sometimes Gomat or Gomat. We have already discussed what is Gomat. Sometimes he is known as Gopati. Gopati. Okay. Go means cow. Mat maybe mother. Pati means that protect a lot of cows. So like that way it is used. So ruler of cows or something like that we can say. Okay. So this is correct. Statement 2 is correct. Statement 1 is wrong. Okay. So which of the following are correct? It is too early. Too early is correct. Okay. Next one, consider the following statements regarding the position of women in Vedic period. Women had access to education and could participate in religious rituals. They are saying that it is Vedic period only. Okay, it is Vedic period only. So obviously we have to consider both these Vedic periods also. Okay, so women had access to education and could participate in. This is mostly focusing on the early Vedic period. Women had access to education and could participate in religious rituals. This is correct. Widow remarriage was strictly prohibited. It was not strictly prohibited. Okay, women were having more freedom was it. Freedom was there for the women. So it was not strictly prohibited in the early Vedic period. Okay, and Gargi and Lobamudra were famous female scholars of this period. They have composed hymns and all. Okay, so like that way, that is correct. Okay, so statement 2 is wrong. Statement 1 is correct. Statement 3 is also correct. So which of the following are correct? It is 1 and 3. Okay, 1 and 3 is correct. Moving on to next question. The Vedic ritual of Ashwamedha. The Vedic ritual of Ashwamedha was related to land donation, horse sacrifice for territorial expansion, cattle wealth assessment, initiation of brahmachari. Okay, Ashwamedha. Ashwa means what? Ashwa means horse only. So this is related to horse. So we have discussed what is this horse sacrifice. Okay, horse sacrifice for territorial expansion. So the king will be there. So the king will be releasing the horse to expand his. So whichever area the horse is going, the horse will be chosen and it will be allowed to roam freely. And any territory it entered had to either accept the person who is conducting Ashwamedha, his supremacy, or he has to fight that. Okay, if he is able to fight that, then he can conduct the sacrifice, or maybe if the person who is conducting the Ashwamedha, he is able to reclaim that territory, means end of the ceremony, the horse will be sacrificed. Okay, so this is Ashwamedha Yaga. Ashwamedha Yaga. Next one, in the Vedic period, which of the following assemblies was considered the house of elders advising the king? Okay, especially in the early Vedic period. Especially in the early Vedic period, this was in prominence. Okay, this was in prominence. So advising the Rajan. So advising the Rajan. So we had two important samadhis. One is Sabha and another one is Samadhi. We have discussed like Sabha, we have discussed Samadhi also we have discussed. It is like the parliamentary bicameral parliament system only. So Samadhi will be the assembly of commoners. Assembly of commoners. Sabha will be the council of elders. Sabha will be the council of elders. Okay, so this is how we were, this is how it was divided. So here what is asked here? House of elders, that is council of elders, that is Sabha. Sabha is the correct answer. Okay. All right. Moving on to next question. Consider the following statements regarding the later Vedic period. Later Vedic period, specifically related to later Vedic period. So the concept of Varna system became more rigid, during this period. Okay, so this is correct only. It became in the later Vedic period. Earlier it was more flexible. Varna system. Varna means what? Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas will be there. So this was in early Vedic period. Okay, so in the later Vedic period, one more addition is coming. The fourth addition was the Shudras. Shudras were also coming in the later Vedic period, okay, in the Varna system. So this statement is correct. It became more rigid. Sabha and Samadhi gained their importance in the political affairs. Sabha and Samadhi gained importance in the political affairs. Okay, so earlier it was Sabha and Samadhi was very much powerful in the early Vedic period. Now it is a later Vedic period. Who is gaining power? It is a king who is gaining the power. Okay, so power was gained by the king only. So here what happened? They lost. Instead of gaining, they have lost. Okay, so this statement is wrong. The use of iron tools and weapons increased significantly. The use of iron tools and weapons increased significantly. This is correct only. Why? Because earlier they were in the Sapta Sindhu region. So now they have moved towards the Gangetic plain. So for that, one of the important things which have helped them was a iron tool. Okay, iron tools, and they started agriculture only. Earlier it was pastoral. From there they shift towards agriculture. Why? Because of the improvement in their tools, iron tools. Okay, so that is one of the reasons. So this statement is correct. This statement is wrong. This statement is correct. Okay, so 1 is correct, 2 is wrong, 3 is correct. Okay, so correct answer is 1 and 3 only. Okay, statement is correct, 1 and 3 only. Okay, all right. So we have discussed last class we have discussed related to regarding the Indus Valley civilization. So we discussed how the life of Indus Valley, how the society of Indus Valley was it. So now after that we have transitioned to the early Vedic period. Early Vedic period, what was the society? How was it in the early Vedic period? And later we transitioned to the for later Vedic period. Later Vedic period, how was society? How was the religion? How was the people? How was administration has changed? All those things we have discussed in the later Vedic period also. Okay, so now we'll be again transitioning to a better monarchies, better or maybe the higher monarchies. So from Janapadas, we are again transitioning to the Mahajanapadas like Magadha, like Kosala and all. We'll be discussing in our later classes. Okay, so next class will be mainly focusing on the Mahajanapadas. Okay, all right. So that's it for today. Thank you.